and welcome back to another episode of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We're not doing too hot, but let's keep going. Oh wait, no, we found the culprit. That's right. It was the old lady with a knife in the top of the apartment.
Now then, Lord Van Zieks, how does the prosecution wish to proceed?
Drunk, Your Honor. This trial is rapidly descending into a farce. Like a corked wine, the first few sips are bitter enough. But what follows is so repugnant, it's good for nothing save the gutter.
If I may, Lord Van Zieks, the defense has just put forward a credible alternative explanation for what happened.
Oh look, fair play's being fair. Nice.
Credible? Is that your considered opinion, Mr. Foreman? The defense's argument is a joke to which I barely know how to respond, but let me start by insisting that you must all familiarize yourselves with the relative positions of those places being discussed.
Huh? I mean, no, Ryunosuke, we want this. What do you mean by that? What's his angle this time? The angle. Literally the angle, Ryunosuke.
It should already be more apparent that between the crime scene and the Garrideb household runs a rather wide street, Briar Road. Which means that the distance from the Garrideb's house to the scene is some, yes, 15 yards.
Okay, that's, 3... Okay, that's... Wait, really? That's a good chunk. Let me see. 15 yards. That's around 14 meters. 14 meters? Oh, that's a little farther than I imagined.
And, as you ladies and gentlemen of the jury rightly noted as having portentous significance, the fourth book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, the smoldering book, wantonly hurled by the lady of the house, traveled some 15 yards.
That's a bit much.
To land on the opposite side of the road, neatly between the collapsed victim's fingers and thumbs.
No, we're not saying that. We're saying she picked it up.
Is that your final conclusion, my learned and deluded friend? And did the jackknife follow a near identical trajectory to the plunge into the middle of the victim's back? This fantasy is somewhat stretching the notion of having a bad day for the victim, I think. Even those pathetic serialized detective stories have more believable plots.
Do I mean a Herlock? There's nothing I can say to that.
That prosecutor loves the sound of his own voice.
Mrs. Otto.
Serialized detective stories are pathetic, are they?
How dare he? Oh, maybe let's pick our battles here. Oh, she's on our side. I mean, like, as in, like, you know, physically.
My lord, might I be allowed to speak? As a judicial assistant, you may speak for the defense, yes. Go ahead.
The prosecution may consider the idea a fantasy, but what the defense has postulated was believable enough to persuade the jury to change its leaning. And as such, the court's a duty to explore this alternative explanation as thoroughly as possible. Yeah, you go, Sasato!
To that end, juror number 4, Mrs. Joan Garrideb, must be called to testify and submit to a cross-examination. Saints alive! A cross-examination of a juror? I mean, you should have checked them first. Order, order, order. Well, this is highly irregular. It is unprecedented for a member of the jury to be summoned to the witness stand.
Objection!
That was the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. That was peak Katniss. Well, not Katniss as in Katniss Everdeen. Cat-like things. Whatever.
And unnecessary.
Lord Van Zieks?
There are already witnesses in the stand whose testimony the defense may further cross-examine. If my learned friend's farcical theory has any truth in it, then both a burning book and a jackknife must have flown through the sky before this couple's eyes. And we must assume they would be able to testify accordingly.
What say you, witnesses?
Yes, sir! Constable Roly B, reporting for duty, sir! Well, good morning, officer. Sorry for dozing until now, sir! I haven't slept for a month on account of a villain who's appeared on my beat, sir!
Oh, they're so heroic, these London bobbies.
Patricia, my darling, I've been neglecting you, but no more.
Oh, Roly, my hero, you make me swoon.
Very well. I hereby reject the defense. What?
That wasn't an... Judge. Oh.
And order the witnesses to stand to testify again. State forthwith before the court any details pertaining to the defense's alternative explanation of events. Yes, sir! This case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Garrett. Believe me, a London Bobby is good for his word. You see, sir, the windows on the top floor of the Garrett house are top hinge casements.
Obviously, if anything had been thrown out the window, we would have seen it. I did leave the scene to go fetch help, but my trusty Roly was there to make sure nothing was disturbed.
I didn't take my eye off the crime scene for one moment, sir. Nothing strange to report on that front, sir. Well, this is quite startling. Top hinge casement windows. That detail was not on the police report, Constable. Yes, sorry about that. I must have been a little drowsy. You cannot excuse your sins with drowsiness every time, Constable. No, sir!
Sorry, but... What exactly is a top hinged casement window?
And you. You cannot excuse your ignorance with such trite remarks, my learned friend.
Of course, sorry.
I found it, Mr. Naruhodo.
Cast your mind back to the windows in Mr. and Mrs. Garrett's room. Okay, I'll try. So the window opens in order to allow air to circulate inside the house. But as it's a top hinge casement window, it swings open along the upper edge, you see?
I'm glad you rectified your ignorance. The casement window's most prominent feature is its stay, a metal bar that prevents the window from being opened beyond a certain amount.
It prevents it opening? This is all news to me.
Absolutely correct, sir. In other words, if a book or knife were to be flung through the open window, it would have clattered against the pane and fallen straight down to the pavement below.
Huh?
You see the problem then? Good. Your education in windows is complete. There was never any possibility of either the book or the knife traveling 15 yards over the road. That is, unless the window pane had been shattered, something we discounted already.
That can't be. Did you see that, Roly? The young Japanese man just collapsed in agony.
Oh yes, darling, I saw it. I saw how he crumbled before me.
Oh, Roly, you're so strong. Ew. How is this happening? I haven't even started the cross-examination yet, and already my argument's been destroyed.
Counsel, if you could drag yourself upright again. The court awaits your cross-examination.
I guess. My lord? Oh, good. Another desperate situation. It's okay, Rinosuke.
Okay, let's I mean, I really don't want to press, is a London Bobby good for his word? That's gonna make me seem really sus to the jury, but I gotta do it anyway.
How can you say that for certain?
Very good question, sir. And the answer is this. It is the noble founding principles of force written on it as a reminder to all us policemen of our sworn duty.
He showed us that before, didn't he? Did he?
Can't say I remember. He did. To patrol the streets of London town and uphold the peace of the common man is what the job's all about. And that's why I can stand here today beside my long-suffering wife and tell you Bobby's good for his word. I'll bring my tired eyes, admittedly. Saw!
Oh, Roly, you're so manly.
Of course I am, my darling Patricia. Oh, Pat.
Oh, Roly.
Oh, Rinosuke, I'm sorry.
No.
No, this is what I meant. I meant, how can you say for certain that this case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb?
Ah, see, sir. You should have said so earlier, sir.
Yeah, well, so could you answer the question? That was a waste of time.
Absolutely, sir. This is my full ability, sir.
There's a surprising reason why Mr. and Mr. Garrideb's missing dispute can't be related to the case.
Before I get to that, sir, just one thing.
Yeah?
I'd very much like you and all your countrymen to understand the great British institution of Scotland Yard. So I hope to take back some of the tales of us London hot bobbies and how we uphold our guiding principles.
I wasn't planning on going back just yet. I've only just arrived here.
So to that end, sir. Oh wait, yes, I got a thing. It's evidence. I'd be happy to lend you my warrant card for your perusal. But I must warn you, you won't be able to get through without shedding a few tears.
Thanks. I'll try. Okay. If it has the knife bit in it, hold on, because the knife's missing a piece. Hold on. Yeah. No, not present. Or can I just want to look at this. Oh, no, it's just, darn, just the words. Maybe later.
Hold it!
By which you mean they don't fully open, is that correct?
Yes, sir. There's such a lot bit of air through the house, you see, so they're restricted as to how much they open. And therefore, anything thrown out of the window from inside the room would simply strike the pane and fall to the street directly below. For clarity, allow me to mark the map.
My mouse is moving.
Here is the location where the objects would have fallen.
And mark the body, please. Yes. Directly opposite the scene of the crime, on the other side of the rather wide road. Would it have been so hard for someone to mention this top-hinged casement thing before? Well, I have another question for you, Constable.
And what would that be, sir?
How'd you even know? Why would you have any idea what sort of windows Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb's house is furnished with?
Ah, well, sir. That's very simple. You see, I helped with the investigation yesterday.
Oh, hold on. What? What are you? Look around his deep. And
Excuse
yes. Do you have something to add, Mrs. Beat? Sorry. You look, well, delighted. Is there some particular reason for that? Oh, I was just remembering. That's all. We really were so lucky. Lucky? What do you mean by that? Well, of course, I feel terrible for the poor woman who was attacked. Don't misunderstand me, please. We were just so lucky to happen to be on Rolly's beat. It was so close, you see. Oh, I hadn't realized. Oh yes, that street, Briar Road, that's the boundary between Rory's beat and the next one. Isn't that right, my love? Constable Beat? Oh, yes, that's right. That's the reason I was helping out with interviewing the occupants of the Garrideb household yesterday. The house is on my beat, you see, sir? Huh? That really was cutting it close, son. Constable, I wonder if you could clarify something. If the Garrideb household is on your beat, does that mean that the pavement next to it is as well?
Outside Mr. Garrideb's house? Yes, ma'am. The pavement on that side of the road is a part of my beat.
I see. I was unaware of that. Just think, if the woman had been attacked just on the other side of the Briar Road, we would have never been able to go for that meal to celebrate our wedding anniversary. Well, that's the life of a bobby, after all. Extraordinary people are bobbies, tirelessly working for the benefit of all Londoners. Do you know what I think? I think it was the good Lord's way of rewarding my Rolly for all his hard work. Don't you think so, my darling?
That must be it, Pat, my love. That must be it.
I think we should make sure that we have information officially on record. Leave it to me, Mr. Naruhodo. I'll take care of it immediately. Okay. The pavement where the victim was found lies just outside Constable's Beat, the border of which runs down the middle of the road. Okay, got it. And now my turn, I think. Obviously, if any name... Okay, yeah. Percent.
But according to my notes here, the sun had gone down already and it was dark. Oh, but Rolly and I were strolling along, gazing at the night sky and looking for our lucky star. Huh? The star that'll guide us to eternal happiness. Can it guide you to the answer to the question?
If a flaming book had cut across the sky in front of us, it would have lit up like a shooting star.
And if I'd seen a shooting star, I would have made a wish upon it. Let Rolly be an inspector, is what I would have said. 3 times at least.
Of course, what with the smog and everything, we couldn't actually see any stars. In short, are you trying to say that neither a book nor a knife crossed the sky before you? Yes, sir! That is correct, sir! I'm sure it's the night sky in London is starless, sir!
It certainly seems like you're telling the truth. And then we saw the poor woman fall to the ground, so we ran straight over to help her.
Hold it!
Yeah. You said you went to a nearby police box to fetch another officer, isn't that right? That's right, yes. If it had been on Rolly's beat, I would have known exactly where I was going, of course.
Don't feel bad, my love. You can't be expected to know every location of every police box on every beat.
So Rolly told me the way. Only I sort of got a little lost on the way. That's important. What?
Patricia, my darling, that's why I love you. Your terrible sense of direction is bewitching to me.
I'm like, wait, are you saying that I have a terrible sense of direction? Is it bewitching? Is it a bewitching thing?
Oh, Pat.
Oh, Rolly. Oh, please. So I suppose I got on for about 15 minutes. But like I said, my Rolly was at the scene the whole time, making sure nothing was disturbed.
I was off duty at the time, but of course. But true Bobby is never off duty, sir.
Hold it!
Nothing to report?
That's correct, sir. I had my eyes wide open the entire time, never looked away for a second. No one has approached the scene and nothing was removed from it. I guess we're that and the yard's on us, sir.
Really? That seems a little strange.
Beg your pardon, sir. Strange, sir. Seems altogether regular to me.
This burnt copy of Lion's Pie was originally in the Garrett household. So the question remains, how did it find its way into the hand of the victim? Can you shed any light on that, seeing as you were at the scene of the crime the entire time?
Aha! Could it be a different copy, sir? One just happened to be burnt as well.
Even that were possible, why would the victim have been gripping a book like that in her hand? As you can see from this photographic print, she had a bag over her shoulder.
Well, sir, that book was in the lady's hand from the moment we arrived at the scene.
Is that so? There's something about this statement that's not sitting right with me. The two mysteries how the knife ended up in her back and how the book ended up in her hand. There's some common thread between them. Okay, so the last one's the thing I have to press. Got it. Oh, are we not? Can I ask you something, please, Mr. Lawyer, sir? Oh, sure, of course. What is it? You're doubting us, aren't you? I can tell. Huh? I wasn't really, what is she doing? Please, just because I'm a woman doesn't make my testimony less— Oh, wow. We're pulling that card. You might just see me as a wife of a policeman, but I'm a woman of my word, I am. I really don't remember ever suggesting that I doubted you. No excuses, I don't want to hear it. My voice will be heard. My lord, you will let me speak, won't you?
Yes, Mrs. Beat, I will allow you to supplement your testimony if you so desire. Sometimes the path of the least resistance is the sage one. Okay, thank you, Judge.
That was a very loud mutter. I heard that.
Yeah.
Well, watch out, sir. I might let you get away with something like that, but my Rolly won't. Duly noted, Mrs. Beat. Please, I humbly ask you to continue. What could she possibly be about to say, I wonder?
Hold it!
Mrs. Beat, nobody's questioning what you've told us. I saw it, I did. That evening I saw it clearly. The The little Eastern man with the whiskers and the funny curved back slinking away from the scene. Uh-huh. And I know what I did see as well. I didn't see any flaming books or knives flying through the sky. Clear? You also mentioned something about having a poor sense of direction. Oh yes, well, that's a little embarrassing really. I'm always ending up in the wrong place when I've made arrangements to meet Rolly. He gets ever so cross. Oh, wait, what?
Excuse me.
Constable B, is there a problem?
Eh? No, sir. No problem, sir.
Did your wife's remark just now bring something to mind, perhaps?
Oh, well, in a way, sir. Yes, sir. I was just remembering that the same thing happened this evening is all.
Huh? You mean Mrs. B lost her way? On the night of the incident? Yeah, we said that.
Well, you see, I sent her off to find a police box in the next beat over from mine. But she was gone a fair bit longer than what I was expecting. I thought she'd be back inside 10 minutes, but my darling was gone a good 15.
Oh, Rolly, you're such a tease. But the reason I was so long is because of the bouquet, silly.
The bouquet?
Sorry, what bouquet are you talking about? Oh, it was a present for our wedding anniversary. Rolly's so romantic. He said he saved up for it with the farthings and halfpennies he found in the gutter while doing his rounds. Yeah, how romantic. I forgot all about it until just now. Had you, my darling.
Yes. But that was just between us. You're talking about to anyone else, darling. You have to promise...
Oh, really? Oh. Wait, what was that all about? Constable B looked very obviously troubled during that exchange. I'm afraid I can't... Yeah, okay, hold on. We got to press that. He has to tell us the truth. Mrs. B, the bouquet you just mentioned. I'd like you to have details about it in your testimony, please. Oh, really? Yes, I'd love to. Oh, what do you know? What happened was, I dropped my bouquet and ended up losing my way for a while. Oops. And we're gonna press that. You mean you dropped your bouquet at the scene of the crime? Yes, that's right. I was so upset. When we ran over, I saw it was a woman with a knife in her back. I was so shocked, I dropped the bouquet Rolly gave me. It was in a dark spot where the streetlights weren't casting any light, so I didn't notice at first. And then you went to the police box to report it to the policeman whose beat it was on? Yes. And I came back to the scene of the crime together with the other constable, you see. That's why I spotted my bouquet again. But the funny thing was, when I went to pick it up, it was nowhere near the victim's body at all.
In case you need reminding, Mrs. Beat, the victim is not deceased.
I was all flustered for a moment before I heard a voice calling me from the other side of the road.
Your husband, presumably?
That's right, silly me. I'd gone over to the wrong side of the street. Although, I'm gonna blame the bouquet this time. I can't think how it got there, I really can't. So the bouquet somehow moved from one side of Briar Road to the opposite?
Curious indeed.
Isn't it? But the worst of it is, I forgot to pick up the bouquet again when we left the scene. That beautiful rose Rolly bought me. With that change from the gutter, he spent so long collecting.
By bouquet, do you perhaps mean this sorry solitary rose?
Oh! Yes, that's it. That's the bouquet Rolly bought me for our anniversary with odd bits of change he found in the gutter. Maybe just call it a rose.
Tell us, Lord Zieks, where did you come by the flower? According to the police report by the police officer in charge of the crime scene investigation, it was found on the edge of the pavement in front of the Gerardov household.
In front of the Gerardov's house?
Although, it wasn't noticed until the morning as it lay where the street lamps cast no light. It was believed to be of no relevance to the case since it was found on the opposite side of the thoroughfare.
Oh, thank you, sir, thank you. Could I have it back now, please?
Nope, it's evidence. No, I think for good measure. This rose should be added to the court record as evidence.
Thank you. Oh.
Okay, we're gonna investigate the heck out of that thing. But it's a symbol of our love. I want it back after the trial. Do you hear me? I want it back.
Good grief. Rest assured, I shall do my very best to not forget, Mrs. Beat. Okay, so I just present the flowers, maybe?
Objection!
Yes. Yeah, because if he didn't take his eyes off, he would have found the flowers. The flower. The single rose. Your claim, Constable Beat. There was something to report in the 15 or so minutes you regarding the scene. But that can't be.
What do you mean to say?
In your testimony just now, Mrs. Beat, you explained to the court that when you arrived back at the scene of the crime, when the policeman assigned to that beat, the bouquet you had dropped at the victim's side was no longer anywhere nearby.
Objection!
Yes, on the opposite side of Briar Road to where the victim was attacked. But considering the size of the meager bouquet, if a single sorry bloom can be so described, no doubt it was blown in the wind across the street, back to the gutter where it belongs.
Meager?
Objection!
But if that were the case, why did Constable Beat not testify to that fact?
No one else approached the scene and nothing was removed from it. Constable Beat swore that in Scotland Yard's honor. But the bouquet belonged to me. It has nothing to do with the case. That's why Rolly didn't mention it, I'm sure.
Because sadly, it's only your bouquet we're talking about here. More than one thing in this case is mysteriously the wrong way around.
What are you talking about?
Well, think about it. Besides Mrs. Beat's bouquet, there's Mr. Garrett's book. Mr. Garrett's copy of the Lion's Pride, which was thrown out the window by his wife, would have struck the pane on the casement window and landed here on the west side of the street. And yet, it was actually found here on the opposite side of the road, in the victim's hand. Meanwhile, according to the testimony we've heard, Mrs. Beat's bouquet should have been dropped here at the scene of the crime, on the east side of the street. But in fact, it was actually found here on the opposite side of the road, in front of Mr. and Mrs. Garrett's house. There's no logical explanation for those things, unless somebody deliberately moved them.
Oh, so he wanted to continue on the date with his wife, so he moved the body off his beat.
What are you trying to say? While you're talking, sounds like you think my Rolly's done something wrong. Don't you listen to a word that scrawny lawyer says. Wittering on about books and bouquets. Why should we care? It's nitpicking is what it is. Oh, good. Mrs. Garrett's come around. You might call it nitpicking, Mrs. Garrett. But deliberately meddling with the scene of a crime is a criminal offense. It's called,
tampering, Mr. Naruhodo.
But the person responsible for this tampering cannot admit to it. For a very subtle but compelling reason.
Objection!
Tampering? You've barely heard the term before. Tell us, my learned friend, who would possibly have had a cause to carry such an elaborate deception?
Yeah, there's someone who tampered with the scene of the crime that evening. All the evidence and testimony points to that one particular person. Constable? Counsel, I must demand that you substantiate this conjecture. Who are you saying is responsible for the tampering with the scene of the crime? Him. Just tell it's like it was Zieks. Zieks did. And present.
Take that!
Well, obviously, there's only one person it could have been. Constable Rolly Beat. It was you. What? A policeman? A member of Scotland Yard?
What nonsense. Why would my Rolly do something like that? There's no one straighter than my husband. No Bobby works more tirelessly for the people of London.
Mrs. Beat, you said in your testimony that your husband asked you to go to a nearby police box to fetch the officer on duty. The 15 minutes that you're absent from the scene is the only opportunity anyone had to tamper with it.
You're making it up. It's nonsense. It's all lies. What about the Japanese man with whiskers? I bet it was him. He did it.
Objection!
If that were true, Constable Beat would have seen him do it.
Oh. And forgive me for pointing it out, but when you drop your bouquet, Mrs. Beat, It was after the defendant had fled the scene. Well...
Objection!
First you make accusations about the landlord and his wife, and now you incriminate a policeman as well. But your accusations lack one very important thing.
Huh?
You claim the crime scene was tampered with. But there's only one reason anyone would want to commit such a reckless crime. To hide something.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. My husband and I just happened to be there, that's all. So why we have anything to hide? Doesn't make any sense.
You've offered no motive for this alleged tampering. And until you do, your accusations are nothing but empty threats.
No, I have. Okay. Constable B had a very good reason for wanting to tamper with the scene of the crime. That's the key to this entire affair.
Mr. Naruto, have you managed to solve this mystery?
Counsel, you have made a very serious accusation against a London police officer. If you are mistaken, I'm sure I need not point out that your reputation as a lawyer will be irrevocably damaged. With that stark warning in mind, you will now explain to the court the motive for this alleged tampering. Yeah, my lord. He wanted to go on a date. Constable B's motive for tampering with the crime scene was to hide... where the bouquet fell. No, where the victim fell. Where the victim fell. Where the victim fell to the ground. That's what this Bobby had to cover up. At all costs.
What?
Where the victim fell? You mean where she was attacked? What are you talking about? I told you at the very start, didn't we? On the pavement of Briar Road. We saw it happen, remember? It was right here, if anyone didn't already know. Well, that's not what everybody's been led to believe. But in fact, that isn't where the victim was stabbed at all.
What? What?
I'm beginning to wonder where this tumultuous trial will end, Counsel.
If that's your assertion, then the court is dying to know, my friend. Were you proposing that the crime actually took place that evening?
Here. Yeah. Wait. Yeah. Whatever. This side of the road. But that's...
on the opposite side of the road.
I don't understand. On the evening in question, Mr. Gator's book fell directly down from the open window above, and your bouquet, Mrs. Beat, never moved at all. What did move was the scene of the crime itself. Good gracious!
Objection!
Okay, but Ryu's gonna be able to say why.
Perhaps you haven't been listening to the ample testimony the court has heard. But these witnesses both saw the moment the attack took place.
That's right, I saw it with my own eyes. It was 5 o'clock in the evening and it was already dark. There was a typical London fog on the ground. When you saw the incident unfold and ran to the victim's aid. That was actually on the west side of Briar Road. No, that's not true. It can't have been. Constable Beat then arranged for you to be absent for a while by sending you for help. And during the 15 minutes you were away, he transplanted the scene of the crime. He moved all the things shown in this print. The victim herself, the 4 books. He moved everything, in fact, to the pavement on the east side of Briar Road. Extraordinary. But the constable overlooked one thing.
What? What did he overlook? The bouquet, I presume.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
The prosecution told the court just a few minutes ago about the discovery of the rose bouquet. Lord Van Zieks said it wasn't noticed until the morning as it lay where the street lamps cast no light.
Yes, it couldn't be seen in the dark, obviously. Which is why it was only the bouquet. It was found in its original position on the pavement on the west side of Briar Road. And that is the defense's theory about, okay, we can fix it. How do you respond? Constable Roly Beat. So wake up now, aren't you?
Well, I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to nod off again, but I haven't slept properly in a month. Did I miss anything important?
Oh, Rolly. It isn't true, is it? What the lawyer said is all lies, isn't it? I know it is because you're the most upstanding, righteous man I know.
I had a dream, a terrible dream. All the things I did that night. Everything come out. Everything exposed.
Oh, okay.
He's sleep talking. Yes, he's sleep confessing. Only it seems it wasn't a dream at all.
Good golly. Ordar. What on earth is the meaning of all this?
Oh, Rolly, why? Why'd you do something like this? Moving a corpse is a criminal offense, isn't it?
Wishing the victim dead should be one too. Constable, explain yourself. Why would you do this? As a respected member of Scotland Yard, your duty is to protect the good people of London Town.
I can't say, sir.
What?
I really am ever so sorry about all this. For damaging the yard's reputation. For everything.
I have a possible explanation. For why on that particular evening, Constable Beat felt compelled to move the scene of the crime. I can think of one reason.
What?
How could you possibly know? Because they said it. That they were so lucky it was on his beat.
You, a foreigner, presuming to understand the mind of a Scotland Yard policeman.
And yet, Lord Van Zieks is this foreigner who has uncovered the startling truth of this matter so far. Besides, Van Zieks, aren't you German? That kind of makes you a foreigner too. I believe it'd be beneficial for the court to hear this extraordinary young lawyer's theory. Counsel for the defense, if you please.
My lord.
Now then, I think I better show us some evidence. Evidence? Oh, at once, my lord. England and Japan? It makes no difference where you come from. Human emotions are the same. I think I have a fairly good idea of the feelings behind this man's actions. What gives away the motive for Constable Beat's unthinkable actions? Okay, hold on. So I think it's the book, but let me just make sure I don't have anything else that's more. Yeah, okay.
Take that!
I realize that I'm a foreigner in this land. I've only just arrived from Japan, which is why all this information about London's so-called bobbies is completely new to me. I've learned that through honorable patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world, for example. Keeping the peace, looking after the citizens on his beat, in all kinds of ways. There's no doubt that the young bobby is charged with a great deal to each date, certainly. But for Constable Beat, the day in question was special. Special? How? On account of this bouquet, and the testimony from beforehand, my lord. Oh yes, it was our very first wedding anniversary. Constable Beat had worked so hard to be able to afford the simple gift for his wife. I was so looking forward to taking her out for a celebratory meal.
When he and Mrs. Beat stumbled upon a crime along Briar Road.
This is the warrant card that Constable Beat offered to lend me earlier. Inside, among the rules for patrolling policemen, it says, when a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives. Aha! Constable Beat? Is that, or is that not the reason why you moved the whole scene of the crime that day?
Yes. Everything you said, it's alright. So that's it. It was all to do with the boundary of your beat.
Oh. Uh-huh. To summarize, the incident actually occurred on Constable Beat's beat. Good gracious. Constable, do you realize the gravity of what you've done?
It was the first time since I became a copper that I'd ever cursed God. Stay close to me, Pat. The criminal could be lurking somewhere. As I ran over the scene, I had every intention of doing my duty as a police officer. You gotta report this to the station as quickly as possible. But then it dawned on me. I realized where we were, where the victim was lying, and what that meant for me. When a crime scene is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations to help detectives. Why here? Why does this have to happen here? And why tonight of all nights? Why? It's a copper's job to guard the scene of the crime, so I told Pat she had to go to the nearest police box and fetch whoever was on duty there. It was then, when I opened my mouth to speak, it just came out. I couldn't believe the words that were coming out of my own mouth. This is the beat next to mine, Pat. So you have to go to the police box that covers it, turn right along Meersham Street, and then...
Oh, she doesn't have a bad sense of direction. He lied. Van Zieks is just screaming internally. I mean, eternally, too. Eternally. Aww.
I'm
ashamed?
Aww. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh, Constable.
I just wanted... just that one night to take my Patricia out for dinner.
Oh, Rolly.
Just that one night. You knew that if the incident was on your beat, your evening of celebration would be ruined. And so you decided to move the entire crime scene outside your jurisdiction. Just across the street to the east pavement of Briar Road, which falls under the neighboring beat's care. You see, I thought... well, I was sure the victim was dead, you see.
I beg your pardon? Oh, of course he did. Otherwise, I really would never have left the poor woman in the freezing cold pavement. Oh, jeez. Ah, I see your meaning now.
But God got me back for my sins, didn't he? That's why I missed the rose I bought for Pat.
Oh no, Rolly, that was all my fault. I should have never dropped in such a dark place. I'm so sorry, Rolly. And can you tell us, Constable? How many books did you move from one side of the road to the other in total?
Oh, 4 was it? Yes, definitely. 4.
3 of them dropped by Mr. Natsume, and the 4th being the one that fell from the window upstairs in the garret household, of course. But what made you place that book in the victim's hand? When all the others were scattered haphazardly around, I mean.
Oh, well, sir. That's because that's how I found it. How you found it? What do you mean? When we first went over to see the crime, the victim was already holding the book. So when I moved everything, I made sure it was still in her hand.
You sure it was this book, The Lion's Pride, that the victim was holding?
Oh, yes, sir. No doubt about it, sir.
Interesting. Yeah, so she was bent down to pick the book up? No.
I thought it was an open and shut case at the time, you see. There were only the 2 people at the scene, and Pat and me both saw it happen. However, which way you looked at it, it had to be the fellow who ran off who'd done it. I thought. I couldn't see the harm, really. I didn't think moving it all over the road would make a jot of a difference. I suppose this is it for me now. I've had it.
Oh.
My lord.
Yes, Lord Van Zieks?
I believe that concludes the cross-examination of the witnesses.
Huh? How are you ending it?
Constable, you may withdraw. Yes, sir!
Mr. Prosecutor, sir. What will become of my Rolly? What will happen to him?
For now, you're free to go home. The police will contact you in due course.
Oh, please don't punish my husband. This was all my fault. It's because I'm always moaning at him for coming home late.
Leave it now, Pat. Let's go home. I'm tired. Alright then, my love. One last thing, Constable. Sah? Let this be a lesson to you. In a criminal investigation, every detail matters, however insignificant it may seem to you. Yes, Sah. Carve that lesson in your mind. And never again make the mistake of tampering with the scene of a crime. Never again, Sah. You mean to say... Leave, now. This trial is not yet over. Oh, Sah!
Is there... Well, quite a startling revelation, I must say. Whoever thought of a third party transplanting the entire scene of a crime like that?
Indeed, my lord. Nevertheless, there are some immutable facts here. Principally, that the accused, Mr. Saseki Natsume...
Are you... Bro.
He's the only person who could have committed this crime.
No, we literally just proved the window thing is a thing. Nuh-uh. Now that we know the true scene of the incident, there's someone else. Another person responsible for the knife in the victim's back.
Forgive me for being presumptuous, but I believe the prosecution is probably well aware of this possibility already.
Lord Van Zieks, is this true?
Very well. Name the person, if you will, and if further investigation is warranted. The prosecution has no objection to the trial continuing.
You will name this. Who do we think? Who do ya think? Sorry. The defense would once again like to request a cross-examination of the new witness, my lord. Once again? Wow. We all got goldfish memory here, don't we? My assistant made it the same request earlier. In order to finally reveal the truth about this case, it's imperative that we cross-examine juror number 4, Miss Joan Garrideb. Mrs. Oh, me, dearing.
Objection!
No objection. You said no objections.
That request has already been denied.
But the situation is very different now. Mrs. Garrideb, answer me this. What do you want now, you little toad? At the time of the incident, you were engaged in a violent argument with your husband, Mr. John Garrideb. In the course of the argument, a minor house fire was ignited. And to clear the smoke from the room, your husband opened a window that looks out over Briar Road. Well, what of it? You threw his book at your husband when he was cornered with his back against the window. Upon striking the pane of the open top hinge casement window, the book plummeted directly down, finding its way to what we now know to be the true scene of the incident. Yes, and I said, what of it? During the argument, you were beside yourself with rage. As such, you threw not just books, but anything you could lay your hands on. So, let me ask you one more time, Mrs. Garrideb. This knife, the one removed from the victim's back. Have you really never laid eyes on it before? Ah! I don't recall it. Seriously? Am I supposed to remember everything I picked up and threw at my husband? And anyway, the man over there in that regalia said members of the jury didn't need to testify, didn't he? I mean, conveniently, yeah.
Objection!
No. I have no recollection of saying that at all, juror number 4.
Oh?
Make no mistake. You jurors are not special in any way. You're not immune to the judicial process. If you knew something about this knife, madam, let the truth come out.
But it's just a common or garden knife. It could have come from anywhere. He has several just like that at home. If one went missing, how would you expect me to know?
What's that?
Are you joking? What are you saying? Please, Mrs. Garrideb. She threw hundreds of knives at the window. Actually, no, one of the ones hit somebody. Now you listen to me. I refuse to believe all this nonsense. I couldn't bear the thought that I'd injured someone. Do you hear me? I couldn't bear it. Oh, the poor woman. So yes, I want evidence. I want to see hard evidence you're going to insist on it being my fault. You're going to have to prove it to me that I threw that knife if that's what you think. Do your worst. Well, Mr. Naruhodo? If I had evidence like that, believe me, I would have thrown it at her already.
Then take the stand, juror.
Oh, he's helping me.
The prosecution does not object to the defense's request to cross-examine this woman.
Thanks, Lord Van Zieks. I'm going to have to testify?
Juror number 4. As I'm sure you'll appreciate, having observed it with your own eyes today. Witness testimony can lead to the most extraordinary truths being unearthed. Truths of which the witnesses themselves may not even have been aware.
Oh, dearie me.
So I demand your full and unadulterated testimony, Mrs. Garrideb. And mark my words, in this court of law today, we shall extract the truth. Do you concur, counsels? Certainly, my lord.
Oh, that's what I'm hoping for, my lord. Alright, is this to be continued? Because about an hour? Almost an hour? This is such a strange feeling. For the first time since arriving in this country, it actually feels real. I'm here in the Old Bailey, and I'm a lawyer. I'm sure he said very mentally, I'm here in the Old Bailey, and I'm a lawyer. But nope, I'm a lawyer.
Witness, state your name and occupation.
Oh, yes, my name is Joan Garrideb. And I'm, well, I'm a juror and such like. It sounds like she doesn't even know if she's a housewife or a maid. Or what anymore.
The court has decided that your testimony is required in order to clarify matters in this case. Do you understand, madam?
Yes, my lord.
You will tell the court everything that took place in your household on the evening in question. And I warn you, do not attempt to hide the truth.
Oh, dearie me.
Chin up, Joni. Nothing to worry about now.
Oh, I didn't even know you were here, John.
This is Inosuke versus couples. Wasn't only you in the room that day, old thing, was it? I think I ought to testify as well, don't you?
Oh, but what about your knee, dear?
Don't you worry about that. Hardly notice it. I'm not the sort of chap to leave a comrade to face disciplinary action alone.
Oh, John.
I presume you are Mr. John Garrideb. Yes, sir. Former 2nd Lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment of the 4th Northumberland Fossors, sir. See my fair share of action and now live in the quiet life, as it were. The quiet life, where you don't engage in an incendiary battle with your spouse on the day in question? Ah, well, yes, quite. I believe they're... God, everyone with deep voices, huh? I believe this may represent the first in the proud history of the British courts. Calling a juror to the witness stand is unprecedented. However, the court will hear your testimony now. Juror number 4, and that of your husband. You will recount clearly and concisely the events in your home at the time of the incident in question. Sir, at once.
Alright, I feel like I'm pretty close to the end here, because I obviously know she accidentally did it. But, I'm going to record, and if this goes on longer than an hour, I'll see you guys all next time. If not, let's continue.
Yes, on the day you're referring to. Well, the wife and I did have a bit of a skirmish. Can't recall the reason now.
Oh, I can recall the reason, sir.
Knocked a candlestick over and set fire to the carpet. Soon had it out, though, and got the window open.
Meanwhile, I was picking up whatever I could find to throw at him.
Plenty of knives around our place. Can't say I noticed if one or two went missing, I'm afraid. If that ballet thing in the victim's back really was one of ours, we'll have a job proving it, I think.
Okay.
It sounds as though it was quite the battlefield in your household that evening. Although an entirely one-sided assault, it seems. The enemy caught us in a hop, sir. Had no choice but to dig in and take defensive measures. To be honest, if the enemy had kept shelling us for another minute, we'd have been toast. Of course, a veteran such as myself is only too aware that on every battlefield, you're just a gnat's whisker from death at any moment.
Are we still talking about the marital quarrel here?
Well, I must say I'm dubious that this testimony will shed any light on the origins of the jackknife. In combat, one's focus narrows such that surroundings are barely noticed. These witnesses may not be able to offer anything more than they have testified already. This may be a dead end.
Nuh-uh. Van Zieks may be right.
Well, whatever the chances.
We only have this last cross-examination to uncover the truth, Mr. Naruto. Okay, cool. I feel like this is it. Please don't be too long of a cross-examination. Yeah, I'm afraid so.
Very well, counsel. Begin your cross-examination.
The Battle of the Gyarados.
Okay, can't recall. Yeah, we can recall the reason.
The reason is what you told us yesterday, I believe. Yes, that's right. If I remember correctly, it all started because of a note that was tucked in the pages of a book belonging to Mr. Gyarados. A rather passionate note in that fact. But Mrs. Gyarados found the note, discovering her husband's little secret. And she gave him a mighty number of slaps across the face for it, too.
What a sordid state of affairs.
Hell on earth.
I say, when a chap says he can't recall things, it's common decency not to drag it up. And besides, half of it was wide of the marks anyway.
A likely story. These waters are very deep.
And what transpired next after these multiple blows to the face?
Hold it!
Even though the room was on fire? As far as I was concerned at the time. It was more important to extinguish my anger than the flames. When a woman wants to throw, she must throw. That is most certainly not true if it's not the takedown, Mr. Naruto. How'd you know I was thinking that? So, please cast your mind back and try to remember. Was the knife among one of the items that you threw at your husband that day? In all honesty, I don't recall. I feel I must point out that I'm no monster. Let me see. Some bread, a cabbage, garlic, a towel, a sponge, a napkin.
Yeah, he's like, what are all these soft things?
Excuse me.
Do you have something to add, sir? Mr. Gyarados?
Shoot, don't shoot. I'm sorry, I beg your pardon.
Did your wife's remark now just bring something to mind?
Nothing of any significance? No. Just that the barrage of projectiles the old thing launched in my direction was something more solid than she implies. Books, bricks, and the fire poker I seem to recall.
Ow.
And the woman's aim is uncanny. She let it... Good grief, woman. We're not at home now. This is a court of law.
Oh, dearie me. I'm ever so sorry, dear. What's she even doing with a teapot in here? Well, honestly, John, I would never throw such things at you, obviously.
Well, take a look at this, then. How do you suppose that happened, Your pipe, sir? Had this thing in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught.
Oh, is it nicked?
Knocked it clean out with one of her soft projectiles, she did, yes. And when I went to pick up the thing, it was broken in two. I like to see a sponge do that sort of damage.
I see. Your pipe is broken.
It would have never been sent flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid. Anyway, I managed to bandage the thing up for now.
That feels really dangerous to... Yeah, whatever. You are one to exaggerate, aren't you, dear? I wonder what we should make of this account. It's important. The defense believes Mr. Gyarados' remarks just now to be of great significance.
Objection!
What are you objecting?
This war veteran's words only tell us one thing. Betray a fiery wife in pipes as well as hearts may be broken. Sentimental wisdom, perhaps, but hardly worthy of adding to formal testimony. Indeed. Common sense, one might say.
Might one? In that case, would you at least permit us to examine the pipe, sir?
Would Well, I don't see why not.
Oh, dearie me, there you go again. Trying to ingratiate yourself with a young lady.
Very well, the court will accept the gentleman's pipe as evidence.
Yes. Do. I hope I didn't speak out terms. Nope, you didn't, Mrs. Otto. You are lovely. You are lovely and a perfect assistant. Who's doing a good chunk of the work for me. Yeah, let's look at that chip there. There's a small nick on the bowl there. Look, it appears to have been made relatively recently. I see those little scrapes of dents over it. It's clearly a well-oiled pipe. Yeah, you're right. Seems to be interested in some, getting some battle scars. Because it's clearly new. Alright. Yes! Cool. We won! Oh, something just took inside the chamber pipe there. Yes, I saw it. Something stuck in there, I think. Oh my god, he's even smoking a metal blade? Let's turn it over and give it a shake. Wait, what's this? It's a tiny fragment of metal. It looks like a tip of a blade or something. Tip of a blade? Surely it couldn't be. Sure got pretty dang lucky. Okay. I don't need the pipe. I have the blade. Do I need to do the knife one more time? Or am I good? Oh, there we go. That's the tiny fragment of metal we found inside Mr. Garrett's pipe. Yeah, and just maybe. Oh my, it's a perfect fit. I like that we're doing this in court and no one's like going like, ah, you did this. Like, no. Don't mind us. We're in a sidebar. So I just knew it.
Well, thank you for that. Rebuttal, Mr. Garredev. Now if we could return to the crux of the matter. What can you tell the court about the knife used to attack the victim?
Okay, hold on. That thing in the back where those arrows, you drop proving, I think I can prove it. Oh. With this.
Objection!
I proved it! Mr. Garredev, could I see take a look at this, please?
You can ask, but I can't see a bally thing.
You can?
You used to call me Dead-Eye Deb back in the regiment, of course. That was some time ago now. Even I'm trying to enjoy a large print book by the fire these days. I struggle to tell a B from a D and a P from a Q, to be honest.
Oh, he does, dearie me. It's rather weird being asked about every other letter and every other word. You must be very dizzy.
What is that? A tiny scrap of metal?
Uh-huh. Almost certainly from the tip of a blade. And what may appear to be first just a tiny scrap is in fact a crucial piece of evidence.
Interesting. And where did the defense come by this evidence?
Did you not see me just take the pipe and go It was lodged in the chamber of Mr. Garrett's pipe.
My pipe, you say? By Jove. I wonder how that got in there. And what precisely does this fragment of metal signify, Counsel? Are you suggesting that this is some way related to this matter of the stabbing on Briar Road?
Ouch. That one hurt. I didn't do the smack thing. I just smacked my own face. I am.
What?
Well, put together with another piece of evidence already in the court record. I believe this tiny fragment of metal will unravel the whole truth of the case, my lord. Oh my gosh, I noticed the back of him, his butt showing.
You appear rather confident in that extraordinary statement, Counsel. Very well then, present the pertinent evidence to the court. What evidence when paired with this fragment of metal?
Obviously the knife. Duh.
Take that!
This is a knife that was found in the victim's back. If you look closely, you'll see that there's a small piece at the tip of the blade that's missing.
A common issue with inferior blades sold at unsavory street markets. Criminals who use them regularly leave the tips lodged in their victims' bones.
And what of this particular knife?
No doubt its tip has suffered a similar fate. now languishing somewhere near the spine of the victim.
Objection!
Nuh-uh. That's not the case. The tip of this particular knife's blade is a very fragment we discovered in the chamber of Mr. Garrett's pipe. Oh, his heart's wounded. Good grief, Lord Van Zieks.
I don't believe it.
Then, oh my god, I just want my thumbnail to be all his reactions. I'm gonna do that.
The knife of the scene of the crime and this fragment of metal are a perfect match. Good golly gosh!
But I want his butt to be the thumbnail too.
Ordar? Is this some sort of Eastern source? What the? Judge!
Judge!
This is no magic, my lord. This is a miracle.
A miracle? So Van Zieks has figured it out, hasn't he? A little late, Van Zieks. Counsel, explain this extraordinary coincidence at once. Sure, my lord. The crucial point to ask ourselves here is when did the fragment of metal find its way inside Mr. Garrett's pipe?
Something that was clarified for us in the most recent witness testimony.
Oh, she's wobbling.
Oh, dearie me.
During the argument between these two that occurred, just as the victim was on the pavement below, Mrs. Garrett flung this knife at her husband. However, the knife missed Mr. Garrett besides striking the pipe in his hand at the time.
Which caused the tip to break off, of course.
Good lord. Yeah, and that is when the tiny tip of the blade found its way inside Mr. Garrett's pipe.
The chances of that are 1,000,000 to 1.
And yet there's no other credible explanation for how the tip of the blade ended up in your pipe. And after losing its tip, the knife ricocheted off the pipe and flew out into the open window. Ah. In short, this knife which fell from the window of the Garrett's house is the very same knife that struck the victim in the middle of the back on the street below. Oh gosh, oh dear, oh no! Oh, she has a little crate on her head.
Objection!
Bro, what objection do you have left? So everyone has drink. I mean, I have drink too, but it ain't wine.
A full-body theory, I'll give you that.
Huh?
A complex bouquet of seemingly trivial points, plausibly arranged to create an almost passable vintage. Allow me to toast my learned friend's characteristically approach in bottling his arguments.
Huh?
But after all, it's just a theory. No, the bottle, I fear, is corked. Because you see, it's spoiled by insurmountable inconsistency.
An insurmountable what? Bro, at this point, yeah, you're on the ropes here, man. We have the weapon in the household and in the lady's back. Like, you know, what is this inconsistency you claim to have identified?
An inconsistency of the simplest nature, my lord. The victim was found with the knife planted in the middle of her back.
Well, yeah, and she bent down to pick up the book. Oh, that's right, you silly little man. Now, Joan, old thing, what are you getting so excited about?
Let's consider the basic facts of the case once more. The victim was walking along the pavement before being stabbed in the back and falling to the ground. If the knife that struck her had fallen from above, there's no possible way it could have implanted itself in the victim's back.
She bent down to pick up the book. Ordar. Wait, right, you see, it's exactly right. If the knife had fallen on her from above, it would have struck her on the top of her head. Well,
he's lost for words, look. I knew it. I never liked this theory in the first place.
Are you serious? This is like a Danganronpa where you solve everything but the comic book and they're like, no, Makoto did it. I'm like, wait, what? But we proved everything else. The victim confessed. Why am I in trouble? It would appear the defense has made a rather spectacular blunder.
If a theory has even one inconsistency, it cannot stand. Your theory, my learned friend, is history.
Come on, Ryunosuke. We were so close. I could see the truth. I was so sure we were on the right track. But now the way has become blocked completely. By just one simple inconsistency. Or in other words, we simply need to eliminate that one inconsistency and the theory will stand. Mrs. Otto. You mustn't worry, Miss Naruhodo. You were just caught off guard, that's all. And your mind went blank. But if the path you're on is indeed correct, then a way will present itself. The key to this is in the court record, I'm sure. All the information you need is there. Wait, what?
It seems you have nothing to say, my friend. Well, your son speaks volumes. A tacit acceptance to that your theory is fatally flawed.
Objection!
Nuh-uh.
Dun dun. Dun dun.
This okay. It means I need to sharpen my mind and dig deeper for the truth. It's a test. Yeah. If the knife fell on Victor from above, there's no way I could have hit her on the middle of her back. Under normal circumstances, that is. Counsel? There's a piece of evidence in the court record that can explain this inconsistency. I can explain how the knife fell from above that would have pierced the victim's back. You already have the answer. Goodness!
Utter madness! Surely this needs to be the last time. Counsel, present the evidence of which you speak.
This is the last inconsistency, the final piece of the puzzle. If I can successfully make sense of this, the truth will be laid bare at last. Oh wait, do I want this thing or I want the book? I mean, oh, I feel like it's a crime scene photograph too. Book. Present!
Take that!
This, the fourth book, found the scene. This is the final piece of evidence the defense will present.
The burnt book?
Is that not Mr. Grado's book? Yeah. Under understand significance, we have to consider how it came to be at the scene in the first place. This photographic print clearly shows the book in question. And the victim holding it in her hand.
But as we all know, it was the police constable that put the book between her fingers like that.
Quite so, as part of his wholesale transplanting of the crime scene to the opposite side of the road. Well, that's true, however, as part of his testimony, which is kind of flawed, but whatever, Constable Beat made an extremely enlightening statement to that point. In other words, the victim had already picked up the book on her own volition. And clearly, that must have been before she suffered the knife wound.
Well, I should say so. But to be attacked with a knife, I don't imagine she'd be doing much of anything.
So the question becomes, why did the victim have that book in her hand?
By Jingo.
Jingo?
I think I'm beginning to see what may have happened now.
Oh, dearie me.
We know that the book fell from the top floor of the garret house to the pavement below. At precisely the moment that the victim was walking past.
Uh-huh. Exactly the moment. The young woman was walking along the street in the light fog. When all of a sudden, a book fell right in front of her. Book I threw. Uh-huh. And what do you think the woman did? What would you do if you were walking along and suddenly a book landed in front of you on the pavement? Oh, well, I really can't imagine it. But I suppose she might have reached down. Aww. And picked the book up. Uh-huh. That's exactly what the woman, in fact, did. She picked up the book. Oh heavens. And when the woman reached down to pick up the fallen book up, what position would her back have been in? That's right, facing the sky, completely and utterly defenseless. Then, the very next moment, while the woman was still bent over picking up the book. Aww. The next object fell from the room above, the jackknife, straight into the middle of her back. At the same time, walking by chance directly behind Miss Green, was the defendant, Mr. Sosuke Natsume.
Well, I never.
It appeared that to Mr. Natsume that the woman simply collapsed on the floor. In the dark, in the fog, he didn't see the knife falling from her above.
And from the other direction, the constable and his wife saw no one but the victim and her apparent attacker.
So there never was a real culprit from the scene in the first place. Well, no, this was nothing more than a series of unlikely events that culminated in an unfortunate accident. And that is the real truth behind this case. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Garrett? Well, the very first time you showed me that knife, I had my suspicions. Well, now you're lying to court. Well, now you're telling that you're lying to court. I wonder if perhaps it might have been something like that. There, old bean.
Poor Mrs. Garrett.
Of course, I never meant for anything of the sort to happen, but it was all my fault, wasn't it? I mean, look, I know it was an accident, but you were throwing a knife during a fire. Like, what if you struck your husband? He'd be dead and you'd be facing an actual, like, a murder charge. I let my anger get the better of me. I threw that book. And I threw the knife as well. John, dear.
It's alright, I know.
I'm ever so sorry. Truly. I'm sorry. And she's passed out. Oh. Dude. What are you doing, dude? Lord Van Zieks, what news of Mrs. Garrett? Did she die in a fire too?
She's been taken to the infirmary. It would appear that after today's events have left her in an especially flustered state. However, I believe she'll recover in due course. Or maybe she won't. Maybe the hospital will go up in flames. There's no cause for concern.
Yes, but notice to themselves, they caused what would easily have been a terrible tragedy. They shall have to prepare themselves for the consequences of their actions.
There is some good news, however, my lord. I just had word from the hospital where the victim is being treated. Her condition is improving steadily, and the doctor believes she will regain consciousness soon.
Oh, it's strange. We've been talking about the victim all this time, but I never once met her.
How wonderful. The woman is out of danger, it seems.
Yeah, that's good news. So, Mr. Seki Natsume. Hey again.
Oh, yes.
On behalf of my fellow countrymen, I would like to take this opportunity to beg your pardon, sir. You came from your distant eastern homeland to study our great British culture. And everyone has flung horrible, horrible things at you. And have been repaid with unmeasurable unkindness. Please accept our heartfelt apologies.
No, it's me begging your pardon.
Oh no, Mr. Natsume?
That evening, when the young woman just collapsed on the pavement before my eyes, I jumped to the wrong conclusion again, in my confusion.
What conclusion, sir?
I was so sure that the woman was dead. Yes, Constable Beats said the same thing, didn't he? He thought she had been killed too.
I suppose she must look completely lifeless.
It's been about a year since I arrived in Great Britain now, but I still can't get used to life here. I can't relax. I'm sure there are evil spirits lurking in the fog. Like they're haunting me.
Oh yeah, he's bringing that up again. Was that? That's... Huh. Poor Soseki-san, his imagination really has got the better of him.
Yes, poor man. So when it happened, I thought the young woman had been taken by the fog spirits. I should have never dropped my books like that and run away. I should have called for help, for a doctor, for the police. Instead, I managed to create a rift in the relationship of the trust between our two empires. And for that, I'm truly sorry.
Why is Mr. Garrett here not in the hospital?
One would indeed say that some sort of mischievous spirit would have been at work here, I think. One that created a chain of unfortunate mishaps. We were befooled by the spirit and led to a false conclusion. But thanks to Lord Van Zieks and our young lawyer here from the east, that chain has now been broken and the spirit exorcised. I heartily commend you both.
Oh!
Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Yes, my lord. In concluding this trial, I must ask one last time for your decisions regarding the defendant's culpability. Are you ready to present your findings to the courts? I swear, if they say anything but not guilty.
Yeah.
I do declare the truth can be extremely cruel at times. Well, I didn't suspect the woman next to me, that's for sure. Sitting here for the old beam while she's out of action, you know, but I knew her decision would be. Does this mean I'll finally be able to get out of here and start work? About time. I say, I'll have a corker of a story to tell the grandchildren when I get home, won't I? Very well. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I hereby demand your final decisions. Mr. Foreman?
Not guilty.
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 Yay! We won!
Very well, Mr. Setsuki Natsume. I hereby pronounce you...
Oh, it's confetti! Yes! Oh, and fireworks.
And finally, Mr. Natsume. Yes, my lord, sir. You are now a free man once more. It is my hope that you will continue to further your education in British culture. And may you never again be brought before me.
Oh, yes, sir, of course. On my life, I swear I'll never step foot in a courtroom again. I'm transported to tears.
Thank you, counsels. Court is adjourned.
Oh, locum. Wait, you mean me? Of course!
Is there another locum here?
Is there even one?
Compared to the original locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, your name has become rather short, hasn't it?
What's wrong with using my actual name?
Oh, at last, I'm free.
Oh, at last I'm free! I'm free! Joyful, joyous, jubilant, jubilation!
Heady, hearty, happiness, hurrah!
Oh, I'm so pleased. Mr. Natsume is delighted. Would it be so hard just to say that though? Look, you did it! You saved me from the brink. Well, what happened to the poor woman was in no way your fault after all. I'm just glad everyone can see that now. No, not that! Lovely, loyal, locum lawyer! Yes? I mean, as I said before, I have just never gotten used to life here in Great Britain. Every time I look over my shoulder, I see foreigners. I see towering brick buildings. And from high windows, I see them looking down at me, laughing. Look at that little hunchback. Oh dear. I'm sure it's all in your head, Mr. Natsume. But today, you, local lawyer, gave my gloom the boot. You stood firm behind that baronial bench before all those babbling British. You battled to the bitter end, learning bear the baffling truth. And when I beheld the blinding fireworks among the beams of the Bailey's roof, I bellowed, "Behold the best barrister ever born!"
Ah, there you are, my dear fellows.
Herlock, hey.
I apologize for keeping you waiting. I rose late this morning.
Were you supposed to be in church? Were you supposed to come to court and you just ditched? Oh, Mr. Shelms, what a pleasure to see you.
I see I'm not here a moment too soon. A disaster has been averted, I'm glad to say.
Oh.
The trial shall begin presently, Miss Naruhodo, and I wish you the very best of luck.
It just finished.
What? No. Then my haste was in vain? It's you! Sherlock Sholmes! Oh, have we met, sir?
This is Mr. Natsume.
The man you had arrested, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, I see. I failed to recognize you at first. Our previous encounters have taken place in the gloom. Either of your bleak lodgings or that prison cell. I simply couldn't place that curious face in the light. Charming. This is all your fault. Her, Locke, Sholmes. You're the reason I had to go through this terrible ordeal. No, because you ran, dude. I'm going to give you a piece of my mind. My apologies, sir, but I assure you, I have placed you now. You're the fellow who abandoned that poor young lady and ran off, are you not? Had she been taken to the hospital more urgently, I feel perhaps she would have regained consciousness by now. But it was unavoidable, I'm sure. We are but human after all. Anyone would have been shaken by such an experience. I do feel badly about how I behaved. Well, never mind now then. What was it that you wanted to say to me, sir? Oh, nothing. Priceless! Oh, I'm so sorry. Really, but that was quite priceless. Oh, poor Saseki-san. Still, on the bright side, you've had an extremely entertaining experience without paying a penny. And it would seem you were not even found guilty. But there is a bright side. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Natsume? Even after this, I'm still cursed by the spirits and now by the Reaper. Oh, right, Lord Van Zieks. I have forgotten, you know, what facing a man in court means. If you're found not guilty, you're still doomed. It will be alright, Mr. Natsume. If the Reaper appears trying to make trouble, I will protect you. Why me? With a perfectly executed Sato takedown. Much as I like being turned on my head, a bit of warning would be nice next time, Mrs. Sato. So, Mr. Natsume, what do you intend to do now? You mentioned something about recounting your experiences to your friends back in Japan. Yes, I intend to return to my homeland soon. Oh. It has already been a year since I arrived in Great Britain. I visited universities, libraries, bookshops. I've been honored with the tutelage of professors. I've learned so much about the wealth of literature here and the city it has shaped. And I've come to realize that my calling is to sail home and tell my fellow countrymen about it. Oh, that's very touching, Mr. Natsume. Or, in perhaps less veiled terms, you wish to draw halfway around the world to escape the terror of the Reaper's curse. That's not it at all! The more I learn of literature, the more the strange feeling claws in my insides. I feel compelled to return to my roots and attempt to pen a work of my own. Okay, a work of literature by Saseki-san. It could be interesting read. And what about Mrs. Sato and yourself, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, I'm sorry, what about us? Will you return to Japan alongside your mustache compatriot? Why? You're here. A week has not yet passed since we arrived in London. And only now does it feel as though we have finally found our feet. And you're already accommodated in that hotel at present, are you not? Yeah, that's right, but we need to find lodgings before it bankrupts us. I've calculated we can only afford another 10 nights before our entire budget is exhausted. Well then, you could take— No! I had a feeling you were going to say that, I didn't want it. You could take my lodgings? Oh, the windowless room of death? But it likes some windows. And more than makes up for it with a floor, ceiling, and walls. Great. And of course, I'd be happy to leave behind the accursed evil spirit. Oh my, an evil spirit. Oh yes. It tries to suffocate you while you sleep. It's an infallible wake-up call. We'll think about it, if that's alright. Perhaps I can offer a more welcome alternative. Let me live with you. Would you consider taking lodgings with me? Really? Well, the vacancy has conveniently presented itself. Though it is up in the attic, I might add.
Are you sure it isn't just a storage loft?
I spoke with the landlady this very morning on the matter of price. And Iris has cleaned the room as we speak. You must come at once. I presume you have no luggage to speak of.
Oh, this is simply wonderful. What an honor to be invited to take lodgings in the great detective's office attic. I'm too overcome for words. So, suggesting we look elsewhere is out then? Yeah, Rinosuke. We outnumber you. We're gonna go live with Harlock.
Iris to prepare a welcome dinner this very evening. And you must come too, Mr. Natsume, I insist. I don't know what to say. But thank you, I guess, and yes.
Oh, wonderful. Then I'll go and complete paperwork for your formal release, Mr. Natsume. It shan't take long. Well, somebody's happy.
Locum, I knew that you wouldn't let me down. I'm truly delighted to have met you here in London.
Likewise, Mr. Natsume. It's been a privilege meeting you, too. It's a shame we're going to have to say goodbye so soon.
Well, I've come to realize that I belong in Japan. But Locum, we'll meet again one day.
Yeah, I'm sure. And hopefully by then, I'll be a successful lawyer. And you won't need me again.
Hopefully by then, I'll be a successful author. Well, my dear fellow, our carriage appears to have arrived. Shall we go, Mr. Naruhodo?
Sure, Mr. Sholmes. Right away to your house.
I have little doubt Mr. Natsume will be released in time for this evening.
And so, with Suzuki-san's innocence successfully established, we rode at Mr. Sholmes to what was to become our new home, 221B Baker Street. And then a murder's gonna happen. Oh, it's nice. There's a stove and everything. So this is to be our new office, yes. Our office? I kind of like the sound of that. Me too. It's simply wonderful, isn't it? I hope you can see this, Kazuma. It's only a small step. But I like to think we're getting a little closer to your dream now.
So, my dear fellows, do you like the place?
Yes. Okay, this is perfect. Now suit your hairless underneath the hat, so I'm gonna recommend the Sims and have your babies. Mr. Sholmes, thank you. It's a delightful room, Mr. Sholmes. I simply adore it.
Good, I'm pleased to hear it. Iris and I are delighted to welcome you.
I hope everyone's hungry. It's nearly time for dinner. We'll eat as soon as Mr. Natsume arrives. We have a lot to celebrate. Iris, you must let me help you. Alright then, Susie. You can be in charge of the salad. Splendid. And thus it became a happy little family and nothing bad ever happened again.
So, Mr. Naruhodo, how does it feel to have your own office in the capital?
It's exciting, really. I can't help but wondering what adventures await us.
Those were precisely my sentiments when I first established my office at these premises. Until I discovered the dark truth about the city of London, that is.
Wait, what?
London is a glorious place, full of wonder, opportunity, prosperity, and mirth. But the brightest of lights hide the darkest of shadows? Cast the darkest of shadows.
Shadows? What do you mean?
Well, I believe you're well aware of the murkiness that lies behind London's facade already. So once again, Mr. Naruhodo. Welcome to London.
Alright.
Man, I should have split this episode up.
Of course, at the time, I had no idea the significance of those words Mr. Sholmes so casually spoke. It wasn't long before my turn came to lift the facade and see the true depth of the murk that lay behind it. And yeah, I guess it was in 2 episodes. But yay! Another chapter down, and we live in Herlock now, which is all I ever wanted in life, and I'm happy. Alright, so we will see you all next week when we start the next chapter. Or unless I split this into 2, then I will see you the next time. I don't know. I'll see you guys all. Bye!